Greetings. Much love to my peoples. Good day today. Just want to come before y'all at this time, right? With some real talk. You know what I'm saying? Much love to my viewers, listeners, and supporters, right? And y'all can click the like button, by the way, and click the subscribe button. For the purpose of, you know, being able to tune into some real talk. You know what I'm saying? From your brother, John, the Nubian winner, of course. This is a new day. This is a new day, y'all. So the nature of this transmission is just for me to freestyle and go into the knowledge itself regarding our true spiritual science, of course, right knowledge, because knowledge itself is a priority in my life. And I think knowledge itself should be a priority in y'all life, because in this world there is a bigger picture to mediocre, thinking, because in order for us as a people, right, to be free in our minds, where we can collaborate together and establish a powerful government of the Most High, to where we can look to ourselves and be like, you know what, job well done. Because after all, knowledge is power, and civilization is the cornerstone that holds everything together for future generations to continue to carry on with the torch of light that's required to sustain a culture's way of life. Now, mind you, life and death is in the power of the tongue. What are we talking about today? What am I going to talk about at this time? To appeal to your intelligence, where the knowledge that you receive from my words will be information that you can utilize and benefit from in a way where you will be satisfied with listening to the positive tones that's coming from this transmission. Now, the nature of this transmission is about being free from the confusion that's created by the God conflicts, right, that is taking place on the planet. That us as a Nubian people are to separate ourselves from what we will be in tune with our proper mindset, in terms of us being on the right track of the way. You have a lot of people in different cultures on the planet that talk about this is the way. Or, for instance, like the Christian world, who have a certain ultimate leader of that spiritual school of thought being a particular Messiah. But the Messiah that they are portraying to the world, is that the real Messiah? Or is it a false Messiah? Or in Islam, regarding the rightly guided one in terms of the Mahdi, is that the real Mahdi? Or the false Mahdi? Or in the monotheistic religions collectively as a whole, that has roots from the source of the monotheism coming from Akhenaten and Kemet. Where is this world headed? Because, mind you, a lot of our minds been in a lot of darkness as a result of a lunar cycle influence on the information that a lot of us as the people who was influenced by, that caused us to be out of our original mindset that was supposed to be rooted in the ultimate reality. What is the ultimate reality? The truth about life's existence. What is the truth about life's existence? Now, man, this is the information age. And we truly are indeed living in the information age. I'm going to show you why. And what do I mean by that? Now, for instance, there is more to us that we've been taught, and there is more to us that meets the eye. We are the real temples of God. We are the real temples of the Most High. Now, we are a product of a divine mind made manifest in a physical flesh, who represent the original creative forces of the universe. What is the universe made up of? Now, with that said, I want to go into this reading of the Holy Tablets dealing with the triple stages of darkness. Dealing with the beginning. In the very beginning was the word existence. And existence was this word, right? Creation came after existence. Nothing would exist, right? If Anu, Aliyun El, didn't create it. In order for Anu to create, he must have existed. Now, if the Christians say that God is the creator of all things, and the Hebrews say that Yahweh is the creator of everything, or the Muslims say that Allah created everything, then Yahweh, Allah, or God must have existed. So there's existence before creation, right? Nothing was created except by way of the creator, by whatever name you want to call the creator, from the monotheistic perspectives, right? For instance, He Allah, who originally was known as Anu and An, was and is and will be the intellectual lecture, the speaker of the word that exists in the beginning, or simply where things began from hydrogen, the element hydrogen, from hydrogen on through the elements. Now, overstanding these points where things sum up to something in existence. Existence predate creation, right? As darkness predates light. Like when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was speaking on the actual facts of how he went into the science of the self-creation of God, right? Or whose proper name according to that school of thought, Allah, right? Okay. Darkness predates light, as ether before the lightest hydrogen is weighed to have a sum, and from ether on into triple darkness, the root of all thinking, right? That is the state of quarks. Now, quarks are within atoms. It's like a source of energy. So, if the root of thinking, right, is the state of quarks, which is the first degree of darkness, first degree of nothingness, then Biaps, the second degree of darkness, and Zealous, the third degree of darkness. The weight or the sum of things or of a thing pre-weight nothingness, yet it exists, right? So, as far as our thoughts, the ingredients of our thoughts being made up of Zealous, Biaps, and quartz, which are elements of energy that's rooted in dark matter conscious materials, that's connected with ether particles of the universe, that's connected with the self-creation of the Most High, that we are direct descendants of, right? Make us children of the Most High. So with that said, that's a part of supreme wisdom and supreme mathematics. So to think deep along the particular lines helps straighten our mind out about the origin and elements of thinking in itself, and it gives us a glimpse to how to see that we are a part of the Most High. Now, this is right knowledge, right? The weight or the sum of things or of a thing, right? Pre-wait nothingness, yet it exists. Knowing these truths is called right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding, right? He was not always the green solar light, but created himself into a green light to be witnessed by his creation as El Elo. Now, regarding the sustainer, our creator, who sustains us through a love beyond our comprehension, that's responsible for existence as the Amen. The Amen, which is taking me to the scroll, the sacred wisdom of Tahuti, right? Now, the master teacher have shared with us, Panabab Yanun, that I have devoted my visit to this planet to the resurrection of the mentally dead, which I affectionately refer to as mummies. Never did I know that the evil one had done such a great job with these people, both mentally and physically, to have them hate self and kind, as far as our people, black people, right? Who have a correct nationality, you know, in terms of us being Moors, Tartarians, Washitans, etc., right? But the point is, right, a lot of our people, or the so-called Negroes, have been conditioned to hate self and kind, like he said, right? Right. But my greatest dilemma and hindrance has been the black devils born amongst you and by you, married to you, socializing with you, praying in the same sacred house of worship as you. But secretly they have a spiritual pact with the devil, which makes it nearly impossible for them to totally surrender to Nuwapu. But for the few chosen from the many called, I sifted to find those beings that wish to become one with the Supreme in all. Like, I am one of those beings who wish to become one with the Supreme in all. Tapping into my potential as a starseed chosen one, where I'm living realistically, right? Like other awakened and conscious brothers and sisters and peoples of the planet who feel that something is wrong out here. I don't want to be a part of the cycle of wrongness. I want to be a part of the cycle of rightness in this sun cycle that we in now, which is a golden cycle, right? Now, regarding what the master teacher is pointing out here. So why the Supreme Grand Hierophant Amanui Ra Ata, as I am known throughout the mystical schools, the incarnation of Tahuti thought, student of the great tomb known as Atum Re or Ra, Atum Re, the first point of resurrection from the ignorant to the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding. I have blended in with each of the religions most interesting to my people, being Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, right? I live as one of them, practice as one of them. And in order to reveal the misconceptions of these doctrines, that have plagued and diseased the minds of my people. Now, stop right there. Reflect on that right there. Certain teachings have diseased and plagued the minds of our people. Certain teachings have diseased and plagued the minds of actually a lot of people on the planet that is of other races. So when a master teacher say, I come to set the record straight, I'm just letting his words be known because I'm a witness to the doctrine. Like, yo, wait a minute. This doctrine indeed is for the permutation of the human species because humanity has a lot of growing up to do. So by this message coming through us, are channeling Nuwapu, we are doing great deeds to appeal to the people to get back to thinking again on a mental level, being mentalist on a mental plane, to become mental giants again, awaken the sleeping giants. The knowledge is here for us to grow forevermore and tap into our potential with. You know what I'm saying? What a great gift. See, to think is a gift. It isn't to be abused or misused or underused. It is to be cultivated with right knowledge. So, through putting the pieces of the puzzle together, what I'm going to do, as far as me doing my part to each one teach one, let my viewers, listeners, and supporters enhance their reasoning through following this particular line of reasoning and logic. Let's make sense of this here. Now, the master teacher put in certain questions and answer forms to untangle our minds from the chaos and the confusion that was caused by certain mind manipulators now who propagated misinformation for far too long, to the point where he had to come. Like he's saying, all I want to do is set the whole mess straight. All I want to do is set the whole record straight, right? And the fruits of his pen has bore good fruit with the evidence of these scrolls to help wake us up. Because I remember when Farrakhan had made a statement, or the teachers of the nation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was like, a lot of people who is like living a beast life are those who have lost the knowledge of themselves. And a lot of our people who have lost the knowledge of themselves are living on a beast level, which is a product of living in the image of the beast, who pretty much molded them into that mentality anyway. So by them living the life of a beast, they feed their physical appetites with the exclusion of cultivating their spiritual needs. So the more we neglect and ignore our spiritual needs regarding cultivating our inner spiritual selves to tap into our higher selves and through an activated pineal gland and third eye, right? Then we give in to physical appetites that cause us to lose the knowledge of ourselves and not use our brains, to where we will be a slave to low appetites that feed the matrix of Satanism, who like a vampire sucks the blood of his hosts, like a parasite that feeds off the dumb, ignorant stupidity and lack of knowledge and ignorance of the low vibratory beings who get reduced to zombies, who have lost their minds, to where they walking around the society as a food source for energy vampires. Now this goes on to read, right? Certain doctrines has plagued and diseased the minds of our people. A lot of people, other societies, minds is plagued with disorders and diseases. Just watch people. The watchers is indeed watching. As far as the Nat, Jaru, and overseers, right? Looking over us as we look over ourselves, the Nagaru, to make sure we keep ourselves intact. You know what I'm saying? In this war. Right? Of good and evil. Now, man, this particular knowledge compartmentalizes things in a certain perspective to where it stimulates thinking to stimulate growth that will enable us to see through the games that's being played on a daily basis for us to be stuck on a certain matrix-addict level. So, being mentally free from the negative slave mentalities of these doctrines that plague and disease our people's minds, it's time for us to break away from that and be connected to the cosmos that is free from prisons of the mind. Now, spiritually, right? Our true spiritual science is the remedy to free us from the plagues and diseases of false doctrines and to restore back to us a authentic consciousness minus a falsified consciousness that has been developed in the minds of a lot of our people all over the world, right? By these reptilian beings, these disagreeable beings, right? And Caucasian Canaanites, the Jebusites, who've been responsible for the spreading of misinformation as well. Now, this is a reintroduction, right, of the master teacher, putting certain things in perspective through this sacred wisdom of Jatuti, or in a language where people can understand, Tahuti, right? Now, the breakdown of the meaning grand is powerful, big, great. Grand Hierophant is of two parts. Hiero, which means sacred, and font, which means to show or reveal, as far as the master teacher's name, one of his many names, right? The great revealer of that which is sacred. Student of Amunubi Ra'ata, the Supreme Grand Hierophant of Ferdi Atum Ray, incarnation of Tahuti with the Master's Key, right? I, the Supreme Grand Hierophant of the ancient Egyptian order, take great pleasure in presenting this correct document, not incorrect mistranslation of misinformation, but correct document of a most misunderstood and unappreciated doctrine. It was presented as the Kabbalion, when in fact it was a very poor interpretation by the Hyksos Canaanites of what they wish the great Grand Hierophant Tahuti thought's works for the world were about, and the onlookers were misinformed in order to sway the true seeker from the right path to the blinding light of European belief systems, right? And the sacred doctrines were all but lost, which is a blessing for us because, like, for instance, you know how government entities, they have operations that take place to where they share certain information with trusted members of their departments who can have access to what's considered classified or top secret materials, right? They have certain clearances to get access for certain classified top secret materials, what other people can't. Like certain people who don't have a certain clearance or briefing or clearance or whatever to certain special information, they just would not know about the material. Now, in terms of a lot of our knowledge that was stolen, certain forces thought they got it all, but they didn't, which basically they got a little of, they got some of it. Like I had seen, like in particular, the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, they have this particular underground library system where they say it's like 52 miles long, full of books. Why aren't these books disclosed to the public? What do they know about these books that we don't know? Why we can't check them out, like going to a library to check the books out and see and gain awareness of the contents of the reading material in those books? Why are they kept secret? What are in those books that they have access to that we don't have access to? See, our ancestors operated in such a way to where the mystery systems of Kemet, right, or Tamaray, was organized in such a way to where certain knowledge was privileged to certain people or initiates who was worthy or whatever at certain points in time. So I can understand why certain information is not revealed to certain people while other information is entrusted to others. Basically, I can see that came from our ancestors with how we utilize knowledge that way ourselves. So this goes on to read though. Okay. Regarding these secret doctrines were all but lost as far as the knowledge itself of our rich culture and true way of life, right? However, this scroll work is based upon a resurrection of the world-old teachings of the Egyptian Grand Hierophant known by many names. Tahuti presented to you in this day and time via an incarnation, a wish on the part of the original to have this record set straight, sent it and signified it through myself, the master teacher, Panabab Yanun, right? I have been known by many names, right? Amunubi Ra Patah, Isa Al Hadi Al Mahdi, Al Muglas. We know this, right? Al Mujaddid, Ela Mutas Jasida, Al Kut, Melchizedek, Al Keter, Murdoch, Chief Black Eagle, Malachi, finally back to Amu Nebu, Ra'akta, in all of the depictions and drawings of Tahuti on the walls of tombs and monuments in Tamaray, Egypt. You see Tahuti drawn with a green hue, which is what the Muslims refer to as Al-Qadr. Again, stemming from ancient Egypt, right? They are all the same with different names and different cultures. I am who I am, right? Originally named either the Jehuti or Zahuti by the Pa Tamariyat, the Egyptian Tahuti thought was given his better known name by the Greeks. They linked him with their own god or Theos, deity supreme being, Hermes, Greek. He became the son of Zeus and Maia, and Zeus was the son of Kronos and Rhea. None of this is true. They just took this Egyptian and tried to make him theirs and change his teachings. And this Hermes was considered to be the Greek Theos, deity, supreme being of wisdom, writing and invention to the Greeks. They get their word Theos from the Egyptian supreme being Theoris, or Theoris, a goddess of woman in childbirth, protectress of babies. This is the word used in your Bible, New Testament in the Greek, for God, Tahuti, was also the messenger and spokesman of the Neterat, supreme beings as Tahuti, and finally a lunar Neter, supreme being under the sun god Re or Ra. You can see the Greek word Theos come from the hieroglyphic word Tahuti, or thought. The worship of Tahuti thought dates from the pre-dynastic period, which itself dates back to before 10,500 years. And his standard appears on artifacts of this time. And his name, the Houthi, originated in the Heptiot nomes of the Hoot in Lower Egypt. He is represented as a man with the head of an ibis bird, which is often crowned by the crescent moon. The baboon is also sacred to him, for in Kaminu Hermopolis, he merged with the local baboon after Supreme Being Hetch worked. According to the Semat funeral priest and the Wabat spiritual priest of Kaminu Hermopolis, it was Tahuti thought in the form of an ibis who hatched by the power of his voice alone the world egg from which all creation is soothed. Other stories relate that in the chaos of New Noon, he awoke from eons of slumber or sleep and opened his mouth, issued the first sound, Kun. This original sound assumed form and became the first 8 beings. 4 Nectarot, God supreme beings, and 4 Nectartat, goddesses, supreme beings. The Ra Shunat Ogdodes, who represented the elemental forces that existed before the creation. Now, existed before the creation, going into the elements of the ether realms, right? The ethers are in existence. The 9 ether forces are in existence, which are dark matter conscious elements, right? Now, our thinking is connected with them elements. So, the Ogdodes was these particular spiritual being elements that work in darkness, that was a part of the creation. These Ogdo elements, who represent the elemental forces that existed before creation, right? The Big Bang was not a bang, but rather a kun, which became the sound Some say some say Amun, to nature. Like the chant that song right now. The chant. The tone, the frequency of the See, by us being beings of the cosmos, that tone is our tone. That's our natural frequency right there. Being connected with natural nature. And of course, men with the staff of life, the 2-ball cane, right? Thought was the Greeks' renderings of the Egyptian hieroglyphic Tahuti, scribe of the Nectarot, a personification of divine intellect. Thus, patron of learning and literature, as I said, he was He was wrongly equated with, or as Hermes by the Greeks, who also was part Hyksos from Japheth's son Javan, Genesis 10:2 of the Torah. The Hebrews proved that the Greeks were also from the Hebrew by way of Noah's son Japheth, whose son Javan was Ionian, which is Grecia, Greece, found in Strong's Greek and Hebrew lexicon number 320, Javan. So the Hekakasut Hyksos were Hebrews and Greeks. Tahuti thought uttered the words commanded by Ra that created the world, which was Kun, the chief sire of worship. Tahuti thought was the city called Kuminu Hermopolis by the Greeks. There, Tahuti thought was called master of the city of 8, the Ogdoads. This referred to the 4 pairs of primordial supreme beings called night, obscurity, secret, and eternity. These shadowy supreme beings are portrayed with the heads of frogs and serpents. That is, they were in deeds and actions human reptilians. They symbolize the very first stage of growth, called creation, as it emerged out of the mud formed by the union of heaven and earth, air, water, and dirt. Tahuti thought is portrayed as an ibis-headed male figure, or sometimes as all ibis. This is a man wearing the ibis bird mask. This is due to the ibis reputation for devouring serpents, and or because of its aquatic lunar habits and nature. Tahuti thought was intimately connected with a variety of lunar functions related to cycles of time and measure and movement. As divine scribe, Tahuti thought is frequently encountered in judgment scenes, recording the verdict returned by the balance, or in temple friezes, recording the deeds of the rulers into eternity. Tahuti thought is the recorder who keeps the record of our deeds and thoughts, the Nabu, Lord of divine words, or words of power, thrice great. As you know, Tahuti's name also spelled the Jehuti, Zahuti, and thought, from which you get the word thought. So where do our thoughts come from? The word thought itself made manifest from a Kemetic deity, Tahuti, Zedhuti, thought. He was the recorder of time, as Khnum is the keeper of time. Neter, supreme being of learning and right knowledge, right wisdom, and right overstanding, giving both information and outformation, again associated with the moon. He was called Neb Shil-an, master of heaven, Nefer Shil-Ushat, beautiful of night, and Saket Bashur, silent being. As previously said, he is seen as a man with the head of an ibis mask, considered his theophany. From Camino Hermopolis, he is sometimes seen as the dog-headed ape in rituals, symbolizing the lower nature of man and mankind. He was the master teacher of priests and physicists, and looked on at the creation of mortals, master inventor of magic. He was also with Horus as the healer. He was also with Horus as the healer of both Sutu, Set, and Horus' wounds in the battle between good and evil, as your Torah, Bible, and Quran would have you believe that Sutu was not evil, as Haru was not all good. They both had will to be agreeable and disagreeable. Tahuti is the Neter, supreme being of peace and love between beings, right? Through wisdom, you will have peace and love between disagreeable beings. Through wisdom, right knowledge itself and others free you from hate and prejudice. Right wisdom frees you from blindness about your past, and the right understanding frees you from the hate of self, and teaches you love for self and kind. Right? Tahuti was the supreme being of writing, science, medicine, and formulas. He was the secretary of the Neterai. He invented alchemy. Right? He assisted mortals by writing many works of science, in particular books on solar biology and astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. 46 records of his is kept secret from the hands of the beastman or human beasts, the evil ones. Tahuti was the keeper of the records of existence and destiny, and the time of the renewal of all history, which comes around every 24,000 years, which is an equinox. Each cycle, each moment, second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, generation, jubilee, century, millennium, equinox, procession, epoch. Tahuti came down from Septet, Sirius star constellation, right? And he also spent time in Orion star constellation, and was a part of the Moon and Mars projects in the seeding of this planet. being a man from planet Risk in the 19th galaxy called Ilion. He has no mother or father, beginning of days, nor end of days. He was also known as Melchizedek, Al-Keter, Rahma, Yanun, Al-Kub, the spokesman for the deities. He was also found in the records of the Hut in Lower Egypt, right? Along with his mask of the ibis bird, which they use as a dove in other religions born out of Egypt. He is crowned by the crescent moon, master of the moon cycle, all those beings created therein. This is why Caucasoids worship him in their secret lodges and temples, which is also where the Muslim world get the worship and following of the moon for all their religious ceremonies, from like their fast of Ramadan. The gods Allah and his wife Alat were moon or lunar gods of old Arabia. Allah being the sun or star, and Alat being the moon or crescent, called in the Quran the light of the heavens and the earth. Now, being given a glimpse into these proper terminologies to where a lot of these religions get their ideas from, it stems from the root of thoughts originated in the light of civilization, Tamaray. Now, for instance, we can go on and on and on with the sacred wisdom of Tahuti scroll, but I want to stop right there and go off into some other reading material, right? Which is putting together pieces of this giant puzzle that is to, pieces of the puzzle to put things together to where, okay, I see how this makes sense, or things are making sense, because as far as the Hekakasu or the Hyksos, Caucasoids, or the Canaanites or Jebusites, who contributed to doing something that contributed to what's called reverse knowledge. But things have become so backwards through them whitewashing things, redefining cultural words, rearranging information where it wasn't recognizable. But little did they know, even though they did these things with so-called scholarly works, which was actually white magic, the words that they was the words that they was using excuse me, left clues linking back to the real source from which they came. That's why etymology is real. You can't get around the etymology of words that go to the root to where certain words come from to connect with their original meanings, tones, frequencies, and vibrations. Right? Hold on. Yo, the original tones, frequencies, vibrations, right? The words. See the language of spells is indeed a language of spells. But who are the spell casters though? Who wanted to cast a spell that was to last for a particular time? And how long was these spells that they cast were to last? How long was these spells supposed to last? To the point where we have what's called the conflict between the gods. Now mind you, once upon a time, I was taught Christianity by my parents. They meant well. They stood for righteous principles in the Bible. Now we know the Bible has been tampered with to where there's certain codes in it that is meant to be decoded. But through the intentions of my grandparents who was Christians, right? They meant well and they stood for spiritual principles that was straight up real. You know what I'm saying? That represented a certain truth that's relevant and consistent with Nuwabu and sound right reasoning and right knowledge today. So they okay as far as the level of spiritual development that they obtain, you know, during their time. And what rubbed off on me was enhanced as a result of me being able to get access to right knowledge. So my spiritual energies that's connected with my ancestors is helping, enabling them to see the right knowledge from a spiritual source that I'm seeing right now. The most, when certain beings or people who wanted to hide certain things from us, they made plans, but the all is the best of planners. Now, for instance, regarding this scroll here, the conflict between the gods, right? Now, why do we have certain god conflicts going on in this battle in the sky, as far as the battle of the mind games that's being played, the mind wars, the info wars, the information wars that's going on? See, look, in this world, in this life on this physical plane, we are spiritual beings on this physical plane. So, as far as us evolving spiritually, we have to connect with the real information that's going to enable us to evolve spiritually. Now, for instance, even though we spiritual beings on this physical plane right here, look at what kind of physical dangers is on the planet. Look what kind of physical orientations have taken place to limit us to a physicality, a physical reality, when it's more to us than this physical reality. But it's certain beings who are earthbound, so to speak, who want to make everybody else earthbound through the information control that they put out here for people who don't know no better, for them to take that knowledge into consideration as opposed to a life-saving teachings that's designed to save your soul, right? Now, why is there a conflict between the gods if there is only one God? Why do we have a plurality of gods? Let's go to the book of Genesis of the Bible. The master teacher broke this down. But then again, the master teacher dissected the reality of the scriptures, where we will be edified and built up in our consciousness and spirit. Okay. In the book of Genesis, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Now, when we hear this, do we pay attention, deep attention, to the words that's being said here? Now, this is the English language, but this is a translation from the Hebrew text. The Old Testament is a translation from the Hebrew text, which is in fact what's supposed to be the language that the Bible was translated from. So, what is these verses saying and meaning in Hebrew? But when you break the Hebrew down, like the master teacher mentioned to us, if God is one God, then why is God being mentioned here in a plural or plurality form, meaning more than one God or one deity? And as far as like code words like hovering, was these beings hovering in some kind of craft, a UFO? Can it be proven that this wasn't a UFO that these beings was hovering in? Now, mind you, the scroll mentioned Earth and the extraterrestrial involvement, or the scroll, are there UFOs? Right? Extraterrestrials in your or our midst. Right? Now this goes on to read. And God said, let there be light. Now, the Holy Tablet just went into detail regarding that darkness predate light, right? Okay. create light, right? But the black light is the light of all lights. So by us as a people getting back in tune with our true knowledge of ourselves, we live the life of a God. That live according to our spiritual instincts, which is opposite of the beastly state of being ruled by the physical appetites of ourselves that has us vibrating on a low level. That certain negative entities love for you to be at. They want you to vibrate low. They want you to vibrate so low that you be stuck in a negative frequency. But that is a frequency that we as nine-mind qualified nine-ether beings is beyond. We vibrate high on high levels. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a separation to where you have to separate yourself from the unclean things and elements of this world. Now, man, back to the conflict between the gods, right? You have people in government, you know what I'm saying, who, see, this society is made up of people who are supposed to be responsible people in like government positions, seats of authority, and officials who have official positions that protect and serve, and things of this particular nature are supposed to be up in knowledge. But are they up in knowledge? Now, our government system has a history of doing certain things, right? They way. So if they doing these particular certain things they way, is they doing it the Most High's way? Let's see if these are ways of the Most High, or are these ways to where these forces are doing things that they want to do, that's in opposition to righteousness or righteous divine guidance. But yet, this is a country where we say we are one nation under God, indivisible, with the unity and justice for all. Now, what is really going on domestically within the borders of the United States of America that we live in? Are we experiencing real equality, freedom, justice, love, truth, peace? Now let's look at some of the things that's recorded here. Like when we was dealing with the sacred wisdom of Tahuti thought just a few moments ago regarding certain records or recordings of activities that's been going on, right? Okay, now, a decade after, okay, let's go on, let me see. Okay, let's see. Okay, it was the cleverest see, do I want to start there? Do I want to start there? Okay. Basically, this is going into like conduct of Uncle Sam, right? For 70 years, the United States convinced much of the world that there was an international conspiracy out there. An international communist conspiracy seeking no less than control over the entire planet for purposes which had no socially redeeming values, and the world was made to believe that it somehow needed the United States to save it from communist darkness. Just buy our weapons, said Washington. Let our military and our corporations roam freely across your land and give us veto power over whom your leaders will be, and we will protect you. So with this kind of bargaining chips, right, of how our government communicate with other governmental territories of other people in order for them to get protections by the United States, and these particular leaderships of these other countries give in and say, sure, yes, we will accept that. So America get a foothold into that territory where they able to have a say on how they can regulate certain agendas that they want to, get accomplished from those with particular kind of bargaining chips, right? Now, when they do these particular kind of things, are they based on Christian values? I'm just saying, or are they based in some other ulterior motive way? You know what I'm saying? Now, it was the cleverest protection racket, since men convinced women that they needed men to protect them. If all the men vanish overnight, how many women would be afraid to walk the streets? And if the people of any foreign land were benighted enough to not realize that they needed to be saved, if they failed to appreciate the underlying nobility of American motives, they were warned that they would burn in communist hell, or a CIA facsimile thereof, and they would be saved nonetheless. A decade after the fall of the Berlin Wall, America is still saving countries and people from one danger or another. The scorecard reads as follows: from 1945 to the end of the century, the United States attempted to overthrow more than 40 foreign governments and to crush more than 30 populist nationalist movements struggling against intolerable regimes. In the process, the United States caused the end of life for several millions of people and condemned many millions more to a life of agony and despair. Now, who was these millions of people? And where was this agony and despair created at? So this is you know how things happen in like some of our communities where we live at, that is criminal activity of some sort or some outbreak of violence that don't make the news. even on this kind of level, this stuff don't be making the news. In other words, is what this is saying. Now, the author of this reading material says, as I write this in Washington, D.C., in April 1999, the United States is busy saving Yugoslavia, right? Bombing a modern, sophisticated society back to a pre-industrial age. And the great American public, in its infinite wisdom, is convinced that its government is motivated by humanitarian impulses. Washington is awash with foreign dignitaries here to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. 3 days of unprecedented pomp or circumstances. The prime ministers, presidents, and foreign ministers, despite their rank, are delighted to be included amongst the schoolyard bullies' close friends. Private corporations are finding the opulent weekend. A dozen of them paying $250,000 a piece to have one of their executives serve as a dictator on the NATO summit's host committee. Many of the same firm lobby hard to expand NATO by adding the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland, each of which will be purchasing plentiful quantities of military hardware from these companies, right? The marriage of NATO and the transnationals is the foundation of the New World Order, the name George Bush gave to the American empire. So, the marriage of NATO and the transnationals is the foundation of the New World Order. The name George Bush gave to the American empire. The credibility of the New World Order depends upon the world believing that the New World will be a better one for the multitude of humanity. So, this particular New World Order, is it a theocracy, a government of the Most High, a government of the All? You be the judge. You know what I'm saying? Because this is on all our watch as far as what direction we are heading into, where we are going on the planet. Regarding that direction, right? You know what I'm saying? People making plans, but the Most High is the best of planners. The Most High is the best of planners. The All is the best of planners, baby. Think, put your thinking caps on, and learn, and know how to carry yourself in this information age, because we is indeed in an information age where this knowledge is being outpoured. You know what I'm saying, from the cosmos, this area of the cosmos we in right now, for a reason. So we have to raise our vibrations and be in tune. make the right move so we all can be out here all right. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this goes on to read. The credibility of the New World Order depends upon the world believing that the New World will be a better one for the multitudes of humanity, not just for those for whom too much is not enough. Too much is not enough, right? And believing that the leader of the New World Order, the United States, means well. So this New World Order empire is being led by the United States, right? Okay. Let's have a short look at some modern American history which may be instructive. A congressional report of 1994 informed us that approximately 60,000 military personnel were used as human subjects in the 1940s to test two chemical agents, mustard gas and what's that? Lewisite blister gas. Most of these subjects were not informed of the nature of the experiments and never received medical follow-up after their participation in the research. Additionally, some of these human subjects were threatened with imprisonment at Fort Leavenworth if they discussed these experiments with anyone, including their wives, parents, and family doctors. For decades, the Pentagon denied that the research had taken place, resulting in decades of suffering for many veterans who became ill after the secret testing. So in other words, our government institutions subjecting these veterans to these particular kind of experiences. I mean, I haven't heard any veterans talk about these particular kind of experiences themselves, but you know, like they say, you can't believe everything you read. But even though certain reading material contains certain details of other people's experiences and recording them in books, it just might have happened. Who knows? But for the sake of this transmission, as far as us speaking truth to power, having mature ideas and concepts of how to make the world a better place, you know what I'm saying? I mean, certain things in this era of time, in this information age, is declassified information now, or information that was once top secret or above top secret is been released now, to where we living in a time where we can talk about things that's real critical, to where we mature enough to remedy and make corrections to help make the world a better place. You know what I'm saying? But still though, the devil is a liar. And that's something we always gotta keep in remembrance. You know what I'm saying? what the evil one intend for evil. We can't allow ourselves to get caught up in that, because the Most High, intends for us to experience peace, love, happiness, and prosperity in the world. That's the real world order, where the Most High will have us to have a renewed mindset, where a new thinking within the Most High's people have to pretty much do their part to affect people in a way where their souls is uplifted in right knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So this goes on to read though. Now let's skip ahead to the 1990s. Many thousands of American soldiers came home from the Gulf War with unusual debilitating ailments. Exposure to harmful chemicals or biological agents was suspected, but the Pentagon denied that this had occurred. Years went by while the GI suffered terribly: neurological problems, chronic fatigue, skin problems, scarred lungs, memory loss, muscles and joint pain, severe headaches, personality changes, passing out, and much more. Eventually, the Pentagon, inch by inch, was forced to move away from its denial and admit that yes, chemical weapons depots had been bombed. Then yes, there probably were release of the deadly poisons. Then yes, American servicemen were indeed in the area of these poisonous releases. 400 soldiers, then it might have been 5,000, then a very large number, probably more than 15,000, then finally a precise number, 20,867. Then the Pentagon announced that a long-awaited computer model estimates that nearly 100,000 soldiers, U.S. soldiers, could have been exposed to trace amounts of sarin gas. Soldiers were also forced to make vaccines against anthrax and nerve gas, not approved by the FDA as safe and effective, and punished, sometimes treated like criminals if they refuse. Now see, we have a mind of our own to say no to things that we don't want in our bodies. Now, during World War II, U.S. soldiers was forced to take a yellow fever vaccine, with the result that some 330,000 of them were infected with the hepatitis B virus. Finally, in the late 1999, almost 9 years after the Gulf Wars ended, the Defense Department announced that a drug given to soldiers to protect them against a particular nerve gas cannot be ruled out as a cause of lingering illnesses in some veterans. Now, if the Pentagon, right, had been much more forthcoming from the outset about what it knew all along about the various substances and weapons, the soldiers might have had a proper diagnosis early on and received appropriate care sooner. Now, with the ability for being upfront, where you can make a well-informed decision of participating in whatever it is you participating into, where you have full disclosure on what you're dealing with, where a person can make the right decision as a decision maker, an adult, to make my mind up, to make a healthy choice whether I want to participate in something or not. It's only fair. You know what I'm saying? That forces and departments and institutions be fair with its people, so we can, make proper decisions and have good relations with the things that we deal with out here. So the nature of this transmission is going to continue regarding the conflict between the gods, because there is a battle, y'all, and we gotta fight. You know what I'm saying? To in this era of time, we gotta fight to. I mean, this is a righteous effort we making to maintain our sanity in the world of a lot of trick knowledge, with certain powers that be exist, to where we have to just know, be well informed, where we can make the proper moves out here, where we stay all right out here, y'all. So positive energy, activate constant elevation. Much love to my people, and I'm gonna do a part 2 to this. So resume having a good day. May this transmission be good food for thought for you, as far as like an art of war term. Never put yourself in a position where you can be defeated. You know what I'm saying? Put yourself in a position where you are a winner. You are a winner, and you have an opportunity to win. You have a winning chance, baby. Peace, love, and light to us all. You know what I'm saying? Much love to the starseeds and chosen ones. This is a good message. Like I said, I'm gonna do another part to this regarding the conflict between the gods. We can have peace, you know what I'm saying, amongst the gods. You know what I'm saying? And the goddesses. Peace and love. Talk to y'all later. And talk to y'all soon. Peace.